next fly that I'd like to show you is what I call the swimming mayfly emerger. And what that is, when we think of emergers, we think of them as being at the surface, crawling out of their shucks and out onto the surface and becoming a dun. Well, just like everything else, they can emerge, mayflies can emerge in numerous different ways. They can start to emerge from the stream floor all the way to the top, and as they do that, they tend to take on the characteristics of a dun as they swim towards the surface. And that's what this one's meant to represent. We're going to tie it on a 200R hook. And we have a little trailing shuck here out of some Zelon. We have an underbody of a turkey biot. And then we have a shell back out of some deer hair, which is ribbed with some gold wire. And then our thorax, let me bend that wing out of the way there. We have a silver crystal bead in there. That just gives a little bit of flash to it and kind of an appearance of an air bubble. Our wings are out of medallion sheeting. Then we have some soft hackle legs here out of partridge, or any soft hackle material that you may want. Then a head out of some superfine dubbing. Let's give this one a try. First thing we need to do is put our bead on the hook. What I'm going to be using is a silver lined pearl bead. Just adds a whole lot more flash to it, and it gives the appearance of an air bubble. I'll get this on our hook here. Then we're ready to put it in the vise. Now we're ready to attach our thread. And let's just start our thread up in the thorax area or mid-shank. Then we'll add some Zelon for our trailing shuck. So we'll cut a hunk of this off. And we don't need quite that much, so we'll thin it down a little bit, just like so. Even up the end and ready to attach it. This way we're going to have a nice smooth underbody, plus there's no way that's ever going to pull out. Then I trim it to about half the length of the hook shank. And then since we don't want that blunt cutoff area, we want to come in and kind of taper it a little bit. This makes it look a lot better. Get a few more out of there. That looks good. Then we'll bring our thread back forward a little bit. Now we're ready to add in some ribbing or gold wire. We'll grab our gold wire here. Get it untangled a little bit. There we go. And we'll attach that right along the hook shank. Then we'll wrap back to where we ended up with our Zelon. Now we're ready to tie in our shell back or deer hair. So we'll cut a clump of this natural deer hair out. And we'll grab it by the tips and pull out all that under fur and some of those shorter little fibers. That ought to be good. As I hold the tips here, I'm going to tie that in. And we'll just take several turns and make sure it's tied in real good. And as I'm doing that, you notice I never let go of the tips of the deer hair. And that's so I can come in right now and trim it. It makes just life a whole lot easier if you keep a hold of them. Now we're going to stroke this deer hair back. And we'll bring our thread right in front. Now we're ready to tie in our underbody or our turkey biot. We'll grab one of these tan-colored turkey biots. And we're going to tie it in tip first, so that notch is to our right. And that way we're going to have a fuzzy kind of an ostrich rib to it as we bring our biot forward. Bring it down, and we'll attach our hackle pliers, and we just start wrapping it forward, making sure that we have nice even segmentations here, evenly spaced, and that, let's see, measure our bead there. That looks about good. Now when you tie off your biot, I always like to tie it off up on top. That way your thread won't cut into it. Tie off our biot there and trim off our excess. Make sure it's tied down good. And then we're going to take our deer hair and kind of stroke it straight up. And we'll lay it forward, trying to keep it all on top of the hook shank. And tying it down, several turns of thread. And then we'll just trim off this excess, like so. And then we're going to take this gold ribbing and bring that right over the top of our body, making sure we have nice, even segmentations. We also get that extra little sparkle because of the gold wire, as well as quite a bit more durability too. Tie it off, just like so. Now we'll add just a little bit of dubbing here, just to cover up where we cut off our ribbing and deer hair, making sure we have a nice, neat looking fly here. Just like so, just cover it up. It doesn't take a whole lot of dubbing. Now we're going to take our thread off. Take our thread off, and we're going to reattach it right in front of the bead. Just like so. Now you can either put your legs on now, or after you tie on your wings. I think we'll put them on now, so we'll grab some partridge. I think I got a partridge feather down here somewhere. There's one. What I'll do is I'll just cut out the center stem, just like so, so I have that nice V in there. And I'll turn it so the feather curves up like this, kind of bunch it all together. Now I'm going to measure the length of it to about the hook point. And I hold it on the side away from me. And I'll bring the thread over fairly loosely, and I'll cinch up on it. That way I have partridge that's sticking out the sides and all the way under and around on the underside. Kind of looks like a compare done upside down. And we'll trim off our excess. Now we're ready to tie in some wings. For that, we'll use some medallion sheeting. Let's see. I got a piece of it here somewhere. There we go. And we'll cut us a little strip of this. Now we're just going to lay that right in front of the partridge. And take our thread here, and we're going to figure eight it on right in front, just like so. Pull on it to even up the tension. Then I'll just fold one wing back and kind of off to the side and tie back onto it. And do the same thing on the side towards you. Just wrap back onto it a little bit. That way it ensures that our wings are laying back, just like what we want. Since this is a swimming nymph, the wings will be laying back as it swims towards the surface. Then we'll come in and trim it at an angle. And you want it to be about the length of the body, because then when you round it off, it'll be just the right size, which is just a little bit shorter than the body. Kind of round them off a little bit, making them look a lot more like the natural. Just like that. And once you have that done, we're going to add a little more dubbing here. We'll take some of this superfine dubbing here. Get that on our hook or on our thread. And we'll just start wrapping forward, covering up where we tied off everything. Just like so. And then we're ready to take our thread off. Cut off our thread. And I have one little scraggler, a partridge there, so we'll come in there and snip that out of there. And there you have it. It's what I call the swimming mayfly emerger. You can add weight in a river, like a split shot or something, and swim it from the bottom of the river towards the surface. Or you can do the same thing in a lake, or use a full sinking line. Or if you want, you can even put some floating on it and fish it right in the surface or just right below the surface. Tying flies this style, I mean, you can tie them for your bigger mayflies, and it's really quite versatile.